The east front of the Capitol is seen at sunset in Washington. Congressional negotiators reached a tentative agreement Wednesday night on a $1.3 trillion federal spending bill, releasing it to the public just 52 hours before a government shutdown deadline. The draft bill runs 2,232 pages, and we're going through it so you don't have to. Here are some key highlights. Overall spending. The Omnibus Appropriations Bill doles out funding for the remainder of fiscal 2018, that is, until Sept. 30, to virtually every federal department and agency pursuant to the two-year budget agreement Congress reached in February. Under that agreement, defense spending, generally favored by Republicans, is set to jump $80 billion over previously authorized spending levels, while domestic spending favored by Democrats rises by $63 billion. Defense funding includes a 2.4% pay raise for military personnel and $144 billion for Pentagon hardware. The domestic spending is scattered across the rest of the federal government, but lawmakers are highlighting increases in funding for infrastructure, medical research, veterans programs and efforts to combat the opioid epidemic. Civilian federal employees get a 1.9% pay raise, breaking parity with the military for the first time in several years. Border wall. The bill provides $1.6 billion for barriers along the U.S.-Mexico border, but with some serious strings attached. Of the total, $251 million is earmarked specifically for secondary fencing near San Diego, where fencing is already in place. $445 million is for no more than 25 miles of levee fencing. $196 million is for primary pedestrian fencing in the Rio Grande Valley. $445 million is for the replacement of existing fencing in that area, and the rest is for planning, design and technology, not for wall construction. The biggest catch is this: the barriers authorized to be built under the Act must be operationally effective designs, already deployed as of last March, meaning none of President Trump's big, beautiful wall prototypes can be built. Immigration enforcement. The bill bumps up funding for both U.S. Customs and Border Protection and for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, delivering increases sought by the Trump administration. But there are significant restrictions on how that new money can be spent. Democrats pushed for, and won, limitations on hiring new ICE interior enforcement agents and on the number of undocumented immigrants the agency can detain. Under provisions written into the bill, ICE can have no more than 40,354 immigrants in detention by the time the fiscal year ends in September. But there is a catch. The Homeland Security Secretary is granted discretion to transfer funds from other accounts, as necessary to ensure the detention of aliens prioritized for removal. Infrastructure. Numerous transportation programs get funding increases in the bill, but the debate leading up to its release focused on one mega-project, the Gateway Program, aimed at improving rail access to and from Manhattan on Amtrak and New Jersey Transit. Trump made it a signature fight, largely to punish Senate Minority Leader Charles E. Schumer, DNY, and other Democratic backers of the project who have held up other Trump initiatives, and Transportation Secretary Elaine Chao told Congress this month that the project simply wasn't ready for prime time. The project is not mentioned in the bill, and Republican aides say that they turned back efforts to essentially earmark federal funding for the project. But Democrats say that the project is still eligible for as much as $541 million in funding this fiscal year through accounts that Chao does not control. The project might also still qualify for other pools of money, though it will have to compete with other projects on an equal playing field. Healthcare. Left out of the bill was a healthcare measure sought by GOP Sense Susan Collins, Maine, and Lamar Alexander, Tennessee, that would have allowed states to establish high-risk pools to help cover costly insurance claims while restoring certain payments to insurers under the Affordable Care Act. Trump, who ended the cost-sharing reduction payments in the fall, supported the Collins-Alexander language. But Democrats opposed it because they claimed it included language expanding the existing prohibition on federal funding for abortions. Guns. The bill includes the Fix NICS Act, bipartisan legislation aimed at improving the national instant criminal background check system that is used to screen U.S. gun buyers. It provides for incentives and penalties to encourage federal agencies and states to send records to the federal database in an effort to prevent the type of oversight that preceded last year's church massacre in Sutherland Springs, Texas. Democrats pushed for more aggressive gun laws, including universal background checks, but only won a minor concession, language in the report accompanying the bill clarifying that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention can, in fact, conduct research into gun violence, a long-standing rider known as the Dickey Amendment, which states that no CDC funds may be used to advocate or promote gun control, has been interpreted in the past to bar such research. The amendment itself remains. Taxes, the so-called grain glitch, a provision in the new GOP tax law that favored farmer-owned cooperatives over traditional agriculture corporations by providing a significant